and their big fat mama. Okay, so she is a legendary bear. No creature type. She's not a shaman. She's just a bear, a big 5/5 bear. For 2 colors, one green, one red, one white. When she comes into play, I draw a card for each creature I control with base power and toughness 2/2. Whenever a creature I control with base power and toughness 2/2 attacks, it gets +3/+3 until end of turn. So that base power and toughness is important because after that, she doesn't care what you did. She doesn't care if you put counters on the creatures. She doesn't care if they're carrying 59 swords and wearing a mithril coat. She doesn't give a damn shit. All she cares about is base 2/2. So, what have I got for planeswalkers? I've got some Johnnies. So, Johnny called the Pride, 1 double white, 4 loyalty. Put a +1/+1 counter on up to one target creature and tick them up by 1. Okay, that's kind of slow. -3, target creature gets flying and double strike until end of turn. That's kind of interesting. -8, create X 2/2, base 2/2, white kitty cat creatures, where X is your life total. All right, so if I tick this guy up and I get, let's say I'm at 20 life, so I'd have 22 twos. And then, of course, next, before they exit summoning sickness, somebody does Wrath of God. But at least I tried. Actually, maybe I should put some. I don't know if any life gain when they come into play creatures that aren't 1/1s that are 2/2s. But let's keep going. So Johnny the Great Hearted, another Johnny, 1 green, 1 white, for a 5 loyalty planeswalker that gives all my creatures Vigilance. +1, you gain 3 life. Okay, well, I mean, it works with Johnny Colored Bride because I can keep pumping up my life total. -2, put a +1 counter on each creature you control and a loyalty counter on each other planeswalker you control. So these guys, they kind of work together. I mean, the same dude, so they should work together, right? Something I've done for the deck, as you'll see, is I leaned way into the base power and toughness 2/2. I have no creatures other than Discana herself that are not base power and toughness 2/2. So let's think about what that means. That means all these creatures, none of them have really big stats. A lot of them have an interesting ability. So over the course of the game, I'll be playing at different times, in different amounts, 2/2 creatures. So turn 1, maybe I'll get down Mistbreath Elder. Turn 2, I'll get down Hexen Culture, which I'll talk about. A lot of you are looking at that and thinking of other things I've said in the past, and it's not jiving, but I'll explain that. So having a bunch of creatures that are 2/2 base power and toughness running around in the field might not really be the best way to go about it. Because somebody can Toxic Deluge for 2, pay 2 life, and wipe my board, right? Or Earthquake for 2. Yeah, a lot of things that'll wipe me out. So I've got to think about that. And that's one of the reasons I've been slow on presenting this deck, is I tried to figure out a way to get around that. So let's get going with Academy Rector. 3 colors, 1 white. Oh, god damn it, she's a 1/2, not a 2/2. Fuck. Fuck. I thought she was a 2/2. That throws a spanner in the works. That changes things. God damn it. Okay, well, when she comes in, the one I ordered, I'm sure I'll give her home somewhere. So when Academy Rector dies, I can exile her from the graveyard. If you do, search library for she has to hit the graveyard, so you're exiling her from the graveyard, not just the game. Specifically the graveyard. If you do, search library for enchantment card, put it into play, then shuffle your library. So she was supposed to fill a key role, but now I'm going to have to replace her because she's a 1/2, not a 2/2, and I'm going to be a slave to my theme. Fuck. Acidic Slime. 3 double green for a 2/2 death touching ooze. When it comes into play, destroy an artifact, enchantment, or land. Armory Automaton. 3 colors for a 2/2 construct. When he comes into play or attacks, you can attach any number of target equipment to it. So I get to steal all my opponent's equipment, whatever they have, whatever I want, whenever he comes to play or attacks, and then they have to pay the equip cost to get it back. So they still control it. For example, if I take a sword to plowshares, not a sword to plowshares, a sword to fire and ice. If somebody has a sword to fire and ice and I take it away, they will get to do shock and they will get to draw a card. So given that all my creatures are 2/2, I'm probably not going to grab somebody's sword of fire and ice if they've got one. Sword of feast and famine, though. Maybe I'll grab that. But then they didn't tap all their lands. What's his U control? Got to think about that. Captain Sisay. 2, 1 green, 1 white for a 2/2 legend. Tap. Search the library for legend or legendary card. Show it to everybody. Put in your hand in the shuffle. So I've got a number of legendary lands down in the land section. There's not a whole lot of legendary creatures that you can find. But her finding legendary lands or planeswalkers can be quite useful. So even though she doesn't have a lot of targets, she does have sufficient targets to include her, justify her inclusion. Charming Prince, 1 and a white for a 2/2 noble human. When he comes into play, choose 1, scry 2, gain 3 life, or flicker a creature you own. Exile it and then bring it back at the beginning of the next end step. Flickering is a small sub-theme of the deck because I've got a number of creatures that have a coming into play ability that I want to recycle and reuse. Deep Gnome Terramancer. 1 a white for a flashy 2/2 gnome wizard. Whenever one or more, so if an opponent would play a land, if a land would enter without being played, rather, I can go find a plains, put it into play, tapped, and then shuffle. So if somebody triggers a fetch land, if somebody does cultivate and they put a land in play without playing it, then I can go search and find more land for myself. Dual Caster Mage. 1 double red for a 2/2 human wizard. He's flashy, he comes into play, and he copies an instant or sorcery spell. And somebody gave me a really good idea for him. Again, I should have looked up the name before I started this so I could give proper credit because I just didn't think about it. But he did, and it's a good idea, and it's in the deck. Karmic Guide. 3 double white for a 2/2 flying protection of black angelic spirit. It's got a high casting cost. She better do something cool. What does she do? She comes into play, and you pull a creature out of your graveyard and throw it right back onto the field of battle. She does have Echo, so if I want to keep her around, I've got to pay the Echo again, and if I flicker her, it resets the Echo. But she does bring dudes back out of the graveyard. Let's talk about this. So, I have a policy where I'm not going to buy any new cards after Blue Burrow. Right? Well, obviously this came after Blue Burrow. But it's so on theme. It's so perfect for the deck. I can't not include it. So I am going to break the policy in order to get a Hexing Squelcher. And I do want this version. And he ain't cheap. And as it is, I've got about 80% of the cards I need to finish the deck. And the other 20% are going to be about 200 to 300 euro, depending on which version and foil I get. But I definitely like this Hexing Squelcher more than the set, so I'm going to get this one probably flat because it's half the price of the foil one. So Hexing Squelcher, 1 and a red for a 2/2 Goblin Sorcerer. It can't be countered. You've got to pay 2 life to target it. My other spells can't be countered. And my other creatures also have ward, pay 2 life. So it just, how can I not include him? Grand Abolisher. Double white for a 2/2 human cleric. During your turn, your opponents they can't do shit. They can't cast spells, activate abilities, creatures, artifacts, or enchantments. They'll just sit there and wait until I am done, until I pass the turn. Then they can start doing their bullshit. Goro Goro, Disciple of Ryusei. 1 in a red for a 2/2 Goblin Samurai. 1 red. Goblins, creatures you control. Goblins, creatures you control. All of them. All the creatures. The goblins and everybody else. They gain haste until end turn. That's why he's here. That's his raison d'etre. 3 double red. Create a 5/5 red dragon spirit token with flying. Activate only if you control an attacking modified creature. So an enchanted, a creature with a counter, an equipped creature, anything like that, which should happen. Get do Slinger. 2 and a red for a 2/2 human nomad with Echo. So it comes into play, does 2 damage to our creature player. That doesn't sound like a lot. It doesn't. I've got a way of increasing the damage that we'll see down below, but sometimes 2/2 is just enough. It's just what you need. Even though the toughness of creatures overall seems to have been increasing. Let's see, for example, I've noticed that what I've registered from Bloomborough on, they've got a lot of creatures that are 2/3, 2/4, that 10 years ago would have been 2/1, 2/2. So my impression is that the overall toughness of the early creatures has been increasing. So anyway, this can come in, and if I don't have the damage increaser, he can still hit something, and sometimes he can take out a key creature, and also you can slide the damage off the player and hit one of their planeswalkers, so you can knock a planeswalker down a little bit. Gaddock Teague. Gaddock Teague does not work well with the Johnny Greathearted. He does not work well with a few other cards I have, but I built the deck kind of around that. I've got a lot of ways to work with the restriction. So what does he do? Green and white, 2/2. Kithkin Advisor. 9 creature spells with CMC 4 or greater cannot be cast. So a Johnny Greathearted cannot be cast. Wrath of God cannot be cast. Damnation. What else? Oh, 9 creature spells with X in their mana cost also cannot be cast. No Earthquake, no Disintegrate, none of that. No Torrent of Hailfire. But he does stop me from doing it too. He just says blanket, nobody. So how am I going to get around that? How is a Johnny going to come into play? Either he'll come down first, either I'll cast a Johnny before Gaddock Teague comes into play, or I've got to figure out a way to flicker and or bounce Gaddock Teague back to my hand. If only I had a way to do that. Floral Spasm. This is weird. 3 and a green. 2/2. If Floral Spasm attacks an opponent and is not blocked, Floral Spasm may choose to molest a target artifact under the opponent's control and deal no damage. So if I attack with him and he's not blocked, and my opponent has any artifact, the Spasm, as you can see in the picture, can molest the artifact to destruction and deals no damage. And it's just a funny card, so I'm putting it in here. Kiki Jiki, Mirror Breaker. 2 triple red. This is going to be hard to cast sometimes. 2/2 with haste, Goblin Shaman. Tap, create a token that's copy target non-legendary creature control, except it has haste. Sack at the beginning of the next end step. So there's a lot of all the creatures with a come into play ability or sacrifice ability. Kiki Jiki lets me double that up. Core Firewalker. I'm going to be casting some red spells. Some of my opponents are going to be casting some red spells, so let's gain some life. Core Firewalker is a core soldier that costs double white. 2/2 protection from red. Whenever a player casts a red spell, you may gain 1 life. Just do it. Just gain the life. Excuse me. Manic Vandal. 2 and a red for a 2/2 human warrior. When he comes into play, blow up an artifact. Boom. Gone. Done. Milera, Silvok out. Now, she is not really needed in the deck in most cases. But we don't have sideboards in Commander. So if Cube plays one of his Neg1 counters deck against Descana, then Milera will be really useful. She will shine like a diamond. One in a green for a 2/2 human scout. I cannot get poison counters. My creatures cannot have neg 1 counters placed on them, and my opponent's creatures lose infect. So, against 3 of Cube's decks, poison and his 2 neg 1 counter decks specifically, she's perfect. If anybody was going to do. Um, see, Toxic Deluge gives them neg 1, but there are other board wipes that are not commonly played but are played. They give the creatures neg 1 counters. And Malira says, fuck off. Mentor the Meek. 2 and a white for a 2/2 human soldier. Whenever another creature control with power 2 or less enters, you may pay 1. If you do, draw a card. Basically, I am ristic studying myself. I am taxing myself, but when I tax myself by paying an additional 1 for any of my creatures, because most of them, well, they're all power 2 or less, except Descana herself. So basically, whenever I cast any creature, I just pay an additional 1 and I get a card. Fantastic. And I like this Jumpstart art. I've already got a copy. It was cheap. Mirren Crusader, 1 double white for a 2/2 human knight, double strike, text from black, text from green. 2 relevant colors. Mist Breath Elder, 1 green for a 2/2 froggy warrior. Beginning of your upkeep, bounce another creature you control to owner's hand. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on Mist Breath Elder. Otherwise, you may return Mist Breath Elder to its hand. Which, when I read that, so return another creature. If you do, so you have to return. But if you don't have another creature, you don't have to return Mist Breath Elder. You may. So it's kind of interesting. And that's one of the things that I'll do to reuse some of my creatures. For example, Gaddock Teague. Let's say I've got Gaddock Teague down and Mist Breath Elder, and I want to cast that at Johnny Greathearted. So, upkeep, bounce Gaddock Teague back to my hand. During my turn, provided I've got 6 mana, cast a Johnny, and then cast Gaddock Teague behind him. So that's one of the things I'm accommodating. Scavenging Ooze, 1 in green for a 2/2 Ooze. Spend 1 green, exile target card from graveyard. If it was a creature card, put a +1/+1 counter on Ooze, and you gain 1 life. I'm still thinking of the Academy Director. I'm thinking, even though it would break my theme, she was so key to one of my ideas. Maybe I'll leave her in. I've got to think about that. Safi Ericsotter, green white for a 2/2 human scout. When a creature is going to die this turn, I can sacrifice her to return the card to play. And it only works for me. I was thinking it'd be interesting if I could use her politically, but I cannot. She only can target my creatures. Only a creature that would be going into my graveyard. Let's get dirty. Let's get real dirty. Runetail, Kitsune Ascendant, 2 and a white. When you have 30 or more life, flip Runetail Kitsune Ascendant. It's a 2/2 legendary fox monk. I've had a foil one of these for years, and I just haven't played it because it is kind of dirty. So let's say I get him down on turn 3. And this is Commander. This is EDH. I start 40 life. So on turn 3, what am I going to be down to? 37? 35 maybe? So he'll flip immediately. How do I... Okay, so if I drag it across, it changes. I can't click on rotate because I can't get it over there. But anyway, when you flip him over, he becomes a legendary enchantment that says prevent all damage to be dealt to creatures you control. So on turn 3, I can have this flip, and my creatures won't take any damage. Of course, it's enchantment, and it can't be removed, but then it's a creature in my graveyard, and I've got a few ways of getting it back. Rift Sweeper, 1 in a green. For a 2/2 Elf Shaman comes into play, choose target face-up card that's exiled from the game. Its owner shuffles it into his or her library. I was thinking of this especially with Academy Rector. So Academy Rector will be exiled from the graveyard when she dies to go get an enchantment. And then Risk Sweeper can come down and put her back in my library so I can go find her again and repeat the process. There's not a whole lot of other things that I would be doing with it. There are corner cases that my opponents might pull that would make it so Rift Sweeper, for example, if they play a card that allows them to play cards from exile, and I don't want them to play the card from exile, and the timing is such that I can cast Rift Sweeper, and I've got a way to cast them as an instant, then I can stop that. So, because they're all 2/2s, I have to have a lot of tricks in the deck. A lot of tricks. Quasali Pride Mage. Green-white for a 2/2 kitty wizard. He's got Exalted. Whenever creature control attacks alone, he gets +1/+1 until end turn. Yeah, neat. 1 colorless, sack him, blow up an artifact enchantment. Plarg, Dean of Chaos. So this, I can just click that and flip him around. This, I don't have any of that. That's kind of frustrating. So anyway, Plarg, 1 in a white, 1 in a white, 1 in a red for a 2/2 legendary orc shaman. Tap, discard a card, draw a card. 4 colorless red tap, so 5 mana tap. Reveal cards on top of your library until you reveal a non-legendary, non-land card of CMC 3 or less. You may cast a card without paying its mana cost. Put all revealed cards not cast this way on the bottom of your library randomly. So that is, I'm thinking that'll be good in the deck. She, Augusta, Dean of Order, the flip side of Plarg. So she is 2 in a white for a 1/3. So she doesn't fit the 2/2. She doesn't fit the overall theme of the deck. But still, other tapped creatures I control get +1/+0. Other untapped creatures I control get +0/+1. So my tapped creatures get more powerful, my untapped creatures get stronger. Whenever you attack, untap each creature you control, then tap any number of creatures you control. So I can tap them. Why would I want to do that? I would want to untap all the creatures I control. Why would I want to tap them so they get +1/+0? Yeah. So Plarg is on theme. Plarg is a 2/2. Augusta is not on that theme, but her being able to buff the team and give them pseudo vigilance is interesting. It works. Paladin and Vec, 1 double white for a first strike, protection of black, protection of red, knight. He's 2/2, just like everybody else in the deck. And he goes along nicely with the Mirror Crusader. Between Mirror Crusader and Paladin Vec, I've got 2 creatures, protection from black, that do damage during the first strike step. And one has pro red, one has pro green. So I kind of like the duality of that. Skyclave Apparition. 1 double white for a 2/2 core spirit. When it comes into play, exile a non-land, non-token permanent I do not control with CMC 4 or less. When you leave the battlefield, the exiled card's owner creates an XX blue illusion creature where X is the CMC of the exiled card. So she comes into play, and let's say they've got something nasty, like, oh, I don't know, Sonic the fucking Hedgehog. She can exile it, and yeah, he'll go in the command zone and come back, but he'll go away for a little while. And then when she leaves the battlefield, when they flicker, when something happens, Q will get a 4/4 blue illusion. Big whoop. Solemn Simulacrum. I read something really interesting about this. So the Forest, let's check his name. So the artist that did this version, Forrest Immel, he's a distraction maker. He works with another guy on the YouTube channel Distraction Makers, and they've got some really interesting conversations, really deep conversations. And if you look up Forrest Immel's original art for Solemn Simulacrum, it was a direct homage to Jens. It was a direct homage to this Solemn Simulacrum, which is a Pro Tour winner that designed the card. He designed it as a blue-green card called Forest Folk, and the Wizards changed it to an artifact creature, which made it much better. So Forrest Immel, he originally had the same base of Jens, and he had some of the design elements of this Solemn Simulacrum, and the Wizards said, nah, we don't want it to look like the original. Change it. And so he changed it to what we now know as the Foundation Solemn Simulacrum. Interesting side quest, interesting side note about the art. Sodari Champion, 2 and a white for a 2/2 Shadow Soldier. He's basically unblockable because nobody really plays Shadow creatures. And when he attacks, all my other creatures get +1/+1 until end of turn, whether they're attacking or not. He just makes everybody bigger. He's just cool like that. Soltari Visionary, 1 double white for a 2/2, again with Shadow. If he hits any player, I get to destroy an enchantment they control. And like we just said, he's going to get through because nobody really plays Shadow. Sting Scourger, 1 in a red for a 2/2 Goblin Warrior with Echo. His Echo is twice as much as his fucking casting cost. I don't like that. Pretty much all the other Echo stuff, the Echo cost is their mana cost. But this guy, they made it double. I don't know why. It's kind of retarded. When he comes into play, bounce a creature and opponent controls back to the owner's hand. And then during your upkeep, pay twice his mana cost or sacrifice him. Or better yet, have Mistbreath Elder and stack the triggers so he's the creature you return to your hand before you have to pay the Echo cost. Voice of All, 2 double white for a 2/2 angel. She flies, she comes into play, and she lets you choose a color. She's got protection from the chosen color. So she comes into play, and I'm looking around. A lot of people are playing green. I'm going to give her protection from green. So she's either going to get through, or she's going to be super blocker. Voice of Resurgence, green and white. Whenever an opponent casts a spell during your turn, which Grand Abolisher will stop that, but you don't always draw any particular card in your deck, do you? It's random. And yeah, you can search out cards, you can do that. So if he's in play and Abolisher is not, then my opponents can cast spells during my turn, and Voice of Resurgence can punish them for it by giving me tokens. He also gives me a token when he dies. And the token is a creature with power toughness equal to all the creatures I control. So yeah, the token will not be base power toughness 2/2, but the voice is, and I like him. White Mane Lion, flashy kitty cat for 1 and a white, 2/2. When he comes into play, bounce a creature control back to its owner's hand. So I can flash him into play, pick up, say, Sting Scourger, pick up Manic Vandal, and recast them in order to get another use out of them. Fucker. All right, so let's go into sorceries. So starting with Twin Flame, which Federico Bandieri, I think that's his name. He's one that turned me on this idea. So he was looking at another deck list I had with Dualcaster Mage, and he said, you should put a Twin Flame in there. And I didn't know what it was, because I didn't use any decks that had Twin Flames, wanted Twin... Well, some of my decks now want them, so I got a couple extra. So anyway, Twin Flame, 1 in a red, Strive. I don't care about the Strive. We're not going to talk about that. Pick a target creature that you control and copy it. Okay? So let's say I Twin Flame Karmic God. Get into the Karmic God. And then I flash and play Dualcaster Mage. And he copies Twin Flame. And the copy targets his ass. So I'm making another dual cast mage who copies Twin Flame. And the copy targets his ass. And I do that until I have 6,692 dual caster mages with haste. Do they have haste? Tokens of haste, yep. And then I win the game. Unless somebody has, like, Settle the Wreckage or something that fucks up my whole game plan. And then I'm just done. So that's Twin Flame. 3 visits, 1 into green, go find a forest, put into play, shuffle. Seize the spotlight. 2 in a red. Okay, what's this going to do? I want to run this deck. I have 2 copies. I want to run it to see what actually happens. So here's the 2 scenarios I picture. I spend 2 in a red, I draw 3 cards, and I make 3 treasures. Because I get to pick the creatures that I take control of. So each opponent chooses fame or fortune. For everybody who chose fame, I gain control of a creature that player controls till end of turn, untap them, and they gain haste. For everybody who chooses fortune, I draw a card and create a treasure token. So anybody with any kind of interesting creature that they don't want me doing anything with, I will have high market in the deck. They're going to choose I draw a card and create a treasure. Anybody has creatures that they don't care about, or they're hoping I send it somebody else so I can use this politically. Oh, you got Cosmic Butcher the Truth out there. Huh. I'm going to send his ass back at you if you don't give me a card and a treasure token. So I'm very keen to see how this works in practice because I've been reading up on it, reading about other people's experience with the cards. And sometimes it's just underwhelming. Other times it's more exciting. Requisition Raid. 1 white to get it started. Sorcery. Spree! +1. Blow up an artifact. Plus another 1. Destroy target enchantment. Plus another 1. Put a +1/+1 counter each creature target player controls. Now, you can do all of them for 3 colorless, 1 white, which is kind of nice. You can cut it down. I really like the versatility in this card. I really like that it's got so many modes, so many options, so you can really tweak it the way you want it. Raise the past. About half my creatures are CMC 2 or less. So 2 double white, bounce all creature cards mana value 2 or less from your graveyard back to work. Wake up, bitches. It's time to fight. Yo Mama's Reach. 200 green. It's Cultivate. It's the original Cultivate. I know Cultivate's been getting a lot more printings than Yo Mama's Reach has in the past few years because it's more evergreen. The word cultivate is not as tied to a plane, it's not as tied to something else than Kodama. So now go find 2 lands, basic lands, show them to everybody, put 1 in your hand, put 1 to play tapped. Ramp. Jailbreak. This is another card that I'm forcing myself to run because I want to see how it actually works. I think in this deck, it's going to work pretty goddamn good. So 1 in a white. Return target permanent in opponent's graveyard to the battlefield under their control. When that permanent hits play, return up to 1 target permanent card with equal or lesser CMC from your graveyard to the battlefield. So this is going to help me get around Gaddock Teeg. Let's say I've got Gaddock Teeg down and Plarg. So Plarg makes me, I throw a card to draw a card. I throw away, I don't know, a Johnny the Greathearted. So he's in the graveyard. Thank you, Plarg. Gaddock Teeg is still there, and he's like, yeah, you weren't going to be able to cast his ass anyway. So then I jailbreak. Give one of my opponents back something. Now, this is tricky because if they have something like a Solemn Simulacrum, yeah, okay, you can have that back. If they have something like, I don't know, Masquid Nexus, maybe not. The Helm of Lillian, what the fuck it is, the one that copies your goddamn creatures. I forget what the name of the goddamn card is. But anyway, the one that you equip a creature and then you copy that creature and it's not legendary, that goddamn thing, yeah, I'm not going to give you that back. So I'm curious to see how this works in practice. Instance, I can return the favor. Double red, spree. +1 copy target instant spell, sorcery spell, activated or triggered ability. I can choose new targets for the copy. If I pay an additional one, I can also change the target spell or ability with a single target. So I can copy the ability, and I can redirect the ability, so I get 2 for the price of 1. Nice. Heroic Intervention. 1 in green. Your stuff gains hexproof and indestructible until the end of the turn. Ghost away. 2 and a white. Exile all your creatures. At the end of the turn, bring them back into play. Eerie Interlude. It's Ghost way, except you target the creatures, but they still come back at the beginning of the next end step into both instants. So here's the thing. I've got a lot of, well, not a lot, I've got a number of creatures that come into play abilities. Neither of these cards bring them back immediately, bring them back at the end of the turn, but they will save my team from some kind of board wipe. Somebody does a board wipe, I can exile all my creatures that don't have protection from white. At the end of the turn, after the board wipe is passed, they will come back and some ability should trigger. Same with Ghostway, and Heroic Intervention is more open, versatile, because it's all my permanents indestructible and hexproof. Now, Heroic Intervention does fuck all against Toxic Deluge, but it still helps against a lot of things. Let's look at some artifacts. So, base power and toughness 2/2. That's the key. Base. So, what that means is if I run, and I was thinking of some enchantments, because enchantments I can put Hall of Heliod's Generosity, get them back. I can put in Oromancer to get them back. But I decided I wanted something that would sit there and provide more value. Now, I don't have Sun Titan in this deck, which I normally would, so when these get destroyed, it's going to be kind of tricky to get them back. That's why I've got the kind of the world at the end there. But anyway, they buff my creatures. All the swords give the creatures protection from 2 colors and +2/+2. All the swords cost 3 to cast and 2 to equip. Sinnoh and Steel, black and red protection. And when a equipped creature hits a player, I get to kill an artifact and a planeswalker. And they don't have to be controlled by that player. So if somebody is playing a black-red deck, but the blue-white player has an artifact I would really like to see go away, or a planeswalker I would really like to kill, I can attack the black-red guy and then piss off the other guy too. 2 for the price of 1. Light and Shadow gives protection from black and white. When a crit creature deals damage to a player, you gain 3 life and raise dead. Sword of Hearth and Home, protection from green and white. When a crit creature hits a player, exile a creature you own, search library for a basic land card, put both into play under your control in the shuffle, so immediate flicker, well, relatively immediate. It'll be part of the combat phase. Fire and Ice, why was I thinking of taking this out? I was thinking of taking this out in favor of Feast and Famine. So Feast and Famine gives the creature protection from black and green, and when it hits somebody, they discard a card, and you tap all your lands. I don't think in this deck that's that critical because of the low CMC of most of my creatures. It's got a fairly low overall CMC in total. So I've got Sword of Fire and Ice, protection from blue and red. When it hits somebody, I get to shock something and draw a card. Soul Ring. I want this Soul Ring. I don't have a copy of the Soul Ring. I like it. It's pretty. It's kind of expensive, but it's pretty and it's different. I like all my decks to have different arts for the ubiquitous cards. Soul Rings, Command Towers. Did you know there's now 100 printings of Command Tower? Fair enough, a shitload of them have the same art. But there's 100 printings of Command Tower now, and over 100 printings of Soul Ring. My God. from famine to feast, because 10 years ago there were two printings of Soul. No, longer than that. About 13 years ago, there were two printings of Soul Ring. There was the Commander 2013, 2011, the new one, and then the Alpha Beta revised and limited Soul Ring. So you had choice of two arts, pick one, and now you have a wealth of choices. Lightning Greaves. Two colors equipped creature has haste and shroud. I don't really know if I'm going to need this. Because, okay, it equips one creature, protects one creature, gives it haste and shroud. Now, the best targets for it are Soltari Visionary, so he can come into play, get equipped, and immediately attack somebody to destroy one of their enchantments. Captain Sisse, so I can immediately search my library for a card, and nobody else will. I mean, she doesn't tap to use her ability. You just sacrifice her. This is an enter the battlefield trigger. When he comes into play, I get all the equipment anyway, and then my opponents have to spend the equip cost to take it back. So him attacking immediately doesn't really matter. I could do Academy Rector, I suppose. Plarg. Oh, that's my friend who got married. He's in Colorado. Plarg, I could immediately draw a card and discard a card, draw a card. I need to remember the correct order. Or use his secondary ability. So maybe I don't need Lightning Greaves. Maybe I should put something else in there. I have to think about it. I'm still, like I said, the deck is about 80% done in paper. Still working on the other 20%, and that's going to be about 200 to 300 euros because I want things like the Soul Ring. And you can see right there, it's 35 US dollars. So it's 30 euros. I looked at the Magic Card Market. It's the same price in dollars as it is in euros. Conduit of Worlds, 2 double green. I can play lands from a graveyard. I'm going to have 5 fetch lands in this 3-color deck. Tap, choose non-land permanent card in your graveyard. If you have not cast a spell this turn, you may cast that card. If you do, you don't get to cast anything else this turn. Nope. Sorry. You made your choice. Activate only as a sorcery. Let's look at the enchantments. Here's where it gets spicy. And now you see why I wanted the Academy Rector so bad. I mean, you remember Gaddock Teague way up there at the top. Okay, Allurin, 2 double green. Like I said, a shitload of my creatures have CMC 3 or less. So this will allow me to play them for free. Learn anybody can play any creature with CMC 3 or less as an instant for free. So yes, it does help my opponents, but if they're not playing a whole lot of smaller creatures, then it doesn't help them that much. I mean, the elf player, he's going to have a fucking field day. So against the elf player, no, I'm not casting this. Excuse me. Cathar's Crusade, 3 double white. Whenever creature control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. On one hand, I don't really want to run this card because of the triggers time that can happen. So I play Cathar's Crusade. And let's say I Ghostway. And all my creatures come back. And they all see each other. And they all start asking, so how many +1/+1 counters do we all get? And they're all asking at the same time. They're barking at your fucking feet. They will not stop. They want their goddamn ice cream. And you just, creatures, relax. We'll figure it out. We've got a mathematician here. Cube, help her brother out. Let's figure out the counters. So that's going to happen with Cathar's Crusade. Otherwise, it makes all my creatures that are base power and 2/2 bigger, more threatening, scary. City on Fire, 5 triple red, but I can convoke it. If a source I control will deal damage to a permanent player, deals triple the damage instead. So if I get City of Fire out and I drop a Get To Slinger, he'll do 6 damage instead of 2. A little bit more interesting. Sword of Fire and Ice, that shock would do 6 damage instead of 2 also. Sweet. Exploration, so I can play more lands. Because remember, Discarda, when she comes into play, I should have, if she comes down on turn 5, I should already have anywhere from 2 to 4 creatures with power toughness 2/2. So I'll draw 4 cards. Some of them should be land. If it's going halfway right, hopefully not all of them are land. And exploration will help me get those lands down. Sylvan Library, I've already got this. I traded some cards to my LGS for it. So 1 in green enchantment. Beginning your draw step, put your other cards down. Do not have them in your hand. Draw 3 cards. And then keep them and pay 8 life, or put 1 back and pay 4 life, or put 2 back and pay no life. For each of the, so you draw 3 cards. You can keep 1. For each of the other 2 you keep, you have to pay 4 life per card. So it could be 8 life if you want all 3 cards. But you do get to put them back on top of your library however you want. And it is draw. Okay? You may draw 2 additional cards. I'm stressing that because I have words of wilding. 2 in a green. Enchantment. It costs 3, so Gaddock Teague doesn't care. Gaddock Teague says I can have words of wilding. Spend 1. The next time you draw a card this turn, instead put a 2/2 green bear creature token into play. And then if you got Cathar's Crusade, trigger. Everybody gets bigger. So that's kind of a little combo I've got there, so I can get more 2/2s out. I could do the same with Masculine. I could play Masculine decks on myself, but it's 3 tap, get a 2/2. So it's slower. Words of Wilding, yeah, it will replace draws, but I can get multiple triggers a turn. Let's look at the lands. Really not a whole lot to say here. I mean, okay, I plan to get all 3 fetch lands. I plan to get all 3 pain lands. I mean, there's the brush land. I already have this Battlefield Forge. I don't have this brush land, but it's fucking cheap, so who cares? Canopy Vista, Cinder Glade. They're both cheap, even in foil. Command Tower. I like this Command Tower. It's really pretty. So this is from the new Eldraine Commander decks. Iganjo Tower. I don't have any of these right now. I don't have Iganjo Tower, Shinka, the Bloodsoul Keep, or Akina Temple of the Grandfathers extra right now. So we'll have to buy them. That's part of the reason why I'm saying I need 200 to 300 euros more to finish the deck. But they're all targets for Sisay. So if I get Sisay down, and let's say I need another white, or I need red, I can use her to go find one of these lands and fix my color problem. Jungle Shrine, I think I got one of these. I have to check my box of cards where I'm socking away the cards for this deck. But this is really pretty. I wish it was foil, but it's not. Jetmir's Garden, you need to get one of these. High Market, Grasslands, and Mossfire Valley. So I have a Mirage Grasslands. You need to get a Mirage Mossfire Valley, but you can see it barely costs €0.50, so it's cheap. Gavany Township, tap from 1 colorless, or 2, 1 green and white. All your creatures get a +1/+1 encounter. Make those bad boys bigger. These are not the basic lands that I will be using. I haven't decided on what basic lands I will be utilizing this deck yet. Something pretty, something whimsical like these, but these are already in Voya. So I don't have these available for Discarna. Field of the Dead. Comes into play tapped. You can tap it at colorless. Whenever it or another land comes into play in control, if you control 7 more lands, different names, you get a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Base power toughness 2/2, baby. I could probably abuse this more. I could probably put in some cards that would make this more interesting. But I'm still thinking about that. I'm still thinking about the overall deck. So if you've got some ideas, share them. Couplers in Forest. I think I have this one. Mishra's Factory. I do have this version, but I'll probably use my French whiteboard 4th edition because it's Kai Foglio. Although this is really pretty in foil. So, tap, add kill lettuce. Spend 1. Mishra's Factory becomes a 2/2 assembly worker until in turn it's still land, but it's a 2/2. And somebody told me something that I didn't fully grasp at first. So I can activate Mishra's Factory. I can declare it as an attacker. In response to it being declared as an attacker, I can tap it to give itself +1/+1 till end of turn. I didn't think about that because I'm still thinking of I declare my attackers, I tap them, I attack, they smash, my opponent cries. But there's tricks you can do. You can get tricksy with these little habbities. Mutavault becomes a 2/2 creature. It's on theme. Kina, we already talked about that. Planes. So these Iganjo, Okina, Shinka, they all give some bonus to a legendary creature. Iganjo Castle can prevent 2 damage to a legendary creature. Okina, you can see, gives target legendary creature +1/+1 to end a turn. And Shinka gives it first strike. So I'd much rather give it haste, but I would need a different land for that. Either the one that exerts the creature, I forget what it's called, it's from one of the Amen Cat sets, or I would need Hull of the Bandit Lord, which costs you 3 life to do it. Can get kind of pricey. All right, I don't have any of these. I don't have any MH3. Maybe I do, but I can't remember. But for the purposes of this deck, I'm going to say I don't have any of them. So I want MH3 fetch lands because I like the art. I've already got the Temple Garden in original Ravnica. I think I've got a stomping ground in my modern collection, so I'm just going with the original Shocklands. Sun Petal Grove, I want this one because I don't have one. There's Shinka, Sacred Foundry, Rootbound Crag. Is there a better version? Is there a more pretty version? Let's see. Oh yeah, I can get the Exelon version. I'm pretty sure I have one. Okay, so let's put that up on the wants. So what about, okay, Sun Battle Grove comes to play tapped. Rootbound Crag. What's the one for red-white? It's not Battlefield Forge. What is the red-white one of these? Because I want more cards, different names to trigger the Field of the Dead. What the hell is the red-white one? Fuck it, I'll figure it later and I'll cut it down. I'll reduce them to the basic land. You have my Cradle Growth, all lands of forest in addition to the land types. I don't have any forest walkers, but I could put some in the deck. And this is mainly here to solve my problems with green. And then, of course, you have my Hollow. Tap, add 1 colorless to mana pool. Green, tap, regenerate target creature. What is the red-white one? Can't fucking remember. Okay, before I go to show you what I'm considering, let me show you what I don't have yet. I don't have the Automaton, so that's 2. I don't have him, so that's 10, so we're up to 12. Jesus Christ, C7 euros? Maybe I don't need him. He's 20, so we're at 32. 25, so that's going to be about 50 with shipping already. Let's see, who else don't I have? I've got those already in my modern collection. He's going to be another 4, so we're up to 54 or so. Let's see. So I've got almost all the creatures. I've got all of the sorceries. I don't have any interlude, so we're up to about 60. To get that in foil, probably 65 with shipping. I've got I don't have a rogue. Okay, so we're up to 80 with shipping. Let's see. Yeah, 110 with shipping. All the other artifacts I own. All the enchantments I own. I don't have the fetch lands, so that's another 30, including shipping. None of that, but that costs nothing. These are just a couple of euros. So yeah, I'm pretty close to finishing the deck. Um, I just need to wait till I get paid again because I don't want to spend any more money on cards this month. All right, so I've been considering Bristly Bill, Spinosaur. He's perfect. 1 in the green for a 2/2 plant druid. Never land, it enters play into your control. You get a +1/+1 encounter to drop on a target creature. 3 double green, double the number of +1/+1 encounters on all your creatures. He's 30 fucking euros. That's why he's only considering. Burnish Heart, yeah. 3 to cast, 3 to trigger. Go find 2 basic land cards, put them play tapped and shuffle. And he's a 2/2. So if I need ramp, I'll put this guy in. Cartographer, 2 and a green. He's a 2/2. When he hits play, you return a land card graveyard to your hand. Not to play, which would be really sweet, but to your hand. Containment Priest. She is not going to the deck because I've got Ghostway and fucking Eerie Interlude and other ways of exiling my creatures. So if they would come into play, they would be exiled. I don't want to exile my own shit. Now, it is possible that the direction I should take the deck is I should take out Ghostway, take out Eerie Interlude, um, take out the Sword of Hearth and Home, take out the things that exile my creatures and bounce them. I'd also have to take out Karmic Guide because Karmic Guide brings it from a graveyard to play, and Containment Priest wouldn't like that. Geez, Containment Priest, why couldn't you just do it to my opponents? Why do you have to do it to everybody? Okay, yeah, fuck that bitch. Danitha, Caption Paragon. Danitha Capuchin Paragon. She's not a Capuchin Paragon. Her name is Capuchin. 2 and a white, 2/2, Legendary Human Knight. She's got First Strike, Vigilance, Lifelink. I was thinking of just putting her here anyway, just because the First Strike, Vigilance, Lifelink. I mean, that's pretty fucking good. Art and equipment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. I only have 5 pieces of equipment, 4 swords, and the lightning greaves. So, and no auras. So I wouldn't get that much use out of that mana reduction, but she is a 2/2 with 3 good combat abilities. So maybe I should squeeze her in somehow. Denley, Streetwise Lookout. 2 and white for a 2/2 Legendary Human Scout. Creatures control of power 2 or less cannot be blocked by creatures' power 3 or greater. That sounds like exactly what I need for this deck, doesn't it? I mean, it suits this deck down to the ground. But I've got Cathar's Crusade. I've got ways of putting counters on my creatures, so they won't be power 2 or less for very long. So, no, she ain't going to work unless I take out all those buffs and I take out the things that make the deck more lethal. Except City on Fire. She won't care about City on Fire. Fauna Shaman, Survival of the Fittest on legs. 1 in green for a 2/2 Elf Shaman. Spin a green, tap, throw away a creature card, search life. Alright, so I was on Fauna Shaman before Clip Champ fucking cut off. And meant I need another part of this long spiel. So Fauna Shaman. Spin a green, throw away a card, find a creature card, reveal it, show it to everybody, shuffle it, do shit. Yep, Fauna Shaman. Citizen Petitioner. So again, these are the cards I am considering. These are the cards I'm thinking about. 1 double green for a 2/2 Human Druid. When she hits play, again, life equal to my devotion to green. If I'm going to be flickering things, then she could be kind of good, depending on if I need the life gain. So I'm just leaving her here in the consideration pile. Scuttlemutt. My LGS had a foil one that was signed for, I think it was 100 crowns, like $5 US. So mine. Ah, Scudamut, 3 colorless, 2/2. Tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Tap, target creature becomes color or colors. I should just put this guy in there anyway. Fuck. So he's a walking mana rock that if I've got 4 swords, oh, well, you're playing a blue-white deck, and dude has Sword of Sinew and Steel, and I kind of want to hit you. And you've got 1 creature to block. Damn, what am I going to do? I'm going to make it black, so it can't block. Robber the Rich. I bought one of these in foil a few years ago because I just thought it was a really cool card. I was playing it on Arena back when I played Arena, and I just thought this is neat. So I'd like to put him in here. I only have so many slots. Anyway, 1 in a red. He's got reach and haste, so he's good for attacking and he's decent for blocking. You have to make a decision. He's 2/2, which I probably don't have to say anymore about any of these creatures. When he attacks, if defending player has more cards in hand than I do, exile the top card of the library. During any turn I attack with the rogue, I may cast a card and may spend mana or any mana of any color to cast a spell. I don't play the card, so if I get a land, it just poof, gone. I don't get to play it. I have to cast whatever I find. Knight of the Reliquary. 1 colorless, 1 green and white, 2/2 human knight. She gets +1/+1 for each land in my graveyard. I can sack a forest or plains. Search my library for land. I've got Field of the Dead. So if I use her to sacrifice a forest or plains, I can go give my Cradle of Growth, and then I can sack any land because it'll all be forest to go get my Hollow, to go get Field of the Dead, to go get whatever I want. So maybe I need to shove her in there somehow. Not a Metagran. Okay. Double white, 2/2, first strike, lifelink. Well, Danitha Capuchin also has first strike, life, and vigilance. And she only costs, she's easier to cast. So Knight of Metal Grain is cheaper, only 2 mana, but double white. Danitha is 2 colorless, so she is easier to cast. I should probably shove her in there. Economy of Ancient Law, 1 in a white. Sack it, destroy an enchantment. I just thought this guy'd be funny. I just thought to put him in as a way of trolling people. Okay, 2 in a red. It's a goblin with mountain walk. That's all it is. It's just a 2/2 mountain walking goblin. So the fact that I've got this goofy fucking mountain walker, I think would be hilarious. So I will fine tune the deck, decide how exactly I want to do it. I should probably get a Bristly Bill, but he's 30 damn euros. Goblin Spelunkers, Knight of the Reliquary, Scuttlemut, and Danitha are probably 4 cards I need to figure out how to put in. And then for your consideration of the cards, Semester's End. Okay, this isn't in the deck because of Gaddock Teague. 3 in a white, instantly exile any number of target creatures and or planeswalkers you control, so they can save my planeswalkers in addition to my creatures. But if Gaddock Teague is out, he won't let me do it. Those creatures come back with a +1/+1 counter, an additional, which if I've got Cathar's Crusade, only becomes even more fun to figure out. And my planeswalkers come back with an additional loyalty counter. But it's not in there because I'm thinking of Gaddock Teague as one of the key creatures in the deck that I want to get out to slow down my opponents. I could also shove a Winter Orb in here, but I don't know if I want to be that dirty. Boros Charm, white-red, choose 1. Either 4 damage target creature or planeswalker. Your shit gets indestructible in a turn, or target motherfucker gains double strike control in a turn. Choose 1. Sabine's Reclamation, 2 in a white. Return target permanent card of CMC 3 or less from graveyard to play. If the spell is cast from graveyard, you may copy and choose a new target for the ability. And it's 4 colorless and 1 white to flash it back. Maybe I should put that in there. I mean, there's so many cards. It's wide open. It's wide open. Discarna. She wants to see 2/2 creatures. Up to the after that, go wild. Do whatever you want. Just give her some 2/2s to play with. She wants some bear cubs. Cultivate. It's just Yo Mama's Reach with a different name. I was thinking of Issachar's Chariot. So 3 and a green, but it's a non-creature spell, so Gaddock Teeg won't like it when it comes into play. And also Conduit of Worlds, because it allows you to cast the spell. It does not get around Gaddock Teeg because you're casting it. So again, he shuts it down. When it comes to play, I get two green kitty cats. So that feeds into the whole 2/2 theme. When it attacks, I create a token that's a copy of target token I control. Crew 4, and it's a 4/4. So because it costs 4, Gaddock Teeg doesn't like it, and because it's a 4/4 creature, it just doesn't quite jive in the deck. It just doesn't quite fit. I love that art though. I think I'll probably get one just to have the art. So, Donnie Fetcher Master Stick. My friend is talking. If you saw that pop up, he's talking about the Iran war has started. America has attacked Iran. Yep. Fucking idiots. Scroll rack. 2 colorless. 1 tap. Exile any number of cards from your hand face down. Put that many cards from the top of your library into your hand, and then put the cards you put face down back on top of your library in any order. Discarna has the potential to draw me a lot of cards, and even so, they might not be cards that I really want at the time. So I was thinking of putting in a scroll rack. So if she gives me, say, 6 cards, and none of them, or few of them, aren't really what I want, really what I need, I can use scroll rack to dig deeper. But the deck can only have 100 cards, so I put it down here in considering. That, and I don't have an extra one, it's 30 fucking euros. Swiftfoot Boots. It's just Lightning Greaves with an equip cost, but it gives creature hexproof. Okay, actually. So Ghostway exiles all the creatures. It just doesn't care. Eerie Interlude targets. So it could be I'm going to want the boots instead of Greaves if I want this effect because of Eerie Interlude. Or I could just run Privileged Position, and for 2 colorless, triple white, triple green hybrid, I can make all my permanents hexproof. I'm still fine tuning the deck. The Reaver Cleaver, 2 in a red, legendary equipment, equip 3, equip creature gets +1/+1 trample, and whenever this bastard deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, you get that many treasure tokens. I have a copy I'm not using. I do own a copy that's in my art binder. So maybe I should start running through the ideas in my mind. Fire Emancipation, another thing I was thinking about. But unlike City on Fire, you've got to pay full price unless Academy Rector finds it for you. And then you don't have to pay anything. She just has to get exiled. And also Gaddock Teeg doesn't care. If Academy Rector goes and finds an enchantment, you're not casting. So Gaddock Teeg is like, yeah, you can have it. Have fun. So 3, triple red. Your shit does triple damage to permanents and players. Growing Rights of Itlamok. Why didn't I put this in the main deck? I should put this in there anyway. 2 and a green, comes into play, look top 4 cards of your library. You can show everybody a creature, put that in your hand, and the rest go on the bottom in any order. Beginning of your instep, if you have 4 more creatures, flip it over into Gaia's Cradle. Yeah. Teleportation Circle. Again, this came out because of Gaddock Teeg. 3 and a white. At the beginning of your instep, exile up to 1 target artifact or creature control and then return it to play under someone's control. So I thought this would be a cute way of reusing my creatures into the battlefield triggers. But I don't have that many. I only have, what, 10? And none of the equipment, or none of the artifacts, or anything I really want to do this with. So, for those two reasons, Gaddock Teague and the fact that I do not have a high number of targets, I dropped this in considering. Kessig Wolf Run, taps for one colorless, or green red X, and then target creature gets plus X plus 0 and trample till end of turn. I just don't think I need it. Path of Ancestry comes to play tapped. It's basically a command tower that comes to play tapped. But when you cast a creature that shares a creature with the commander, you scry 1. I don't have any other bears. She's the only bear. Duskana. I keep on calling her Duskarna, but it's Duskana. Duskana, the Rage Mother. Okay, so that's what I've been working on. Let me splice this together and put it out for everybody to pick it apart and tell me what you think. Cheers. And go. Sound check.